Hello, I'm Lisa Fiddermon. I am the coordinator for Pastoral MInistries. Welcome to June 2nd, 2020. I'd like to share a few announcements with you this morning from Pastoral MInistries. One of the announcements is we are continuing with our online services with Village Church. Which is viewed, we have replays at different times for Village Church, as well as for Green Spring Fellowship. And we also have services that are being streamed from St. Bernadette Church. So we're glad to have this opportunity to be able to offer some inspiration and hope to all of you during this time that we have together through this pandemic. We understand the importance of faith. We have a great Pastoral Ministries team that is equipped and very competent in being able to help to address some of the spiritual needs here at Green Spring. So it's an honor and a privilege for me to be able to be here and assist with that. I wanted to talk a little bit today about grief and loss. Grief and loss, faith, grief and loss, actually. One of the things that, this kind of a funny thing that kind of happened to me today was I lost my phone. I could not find my phone, and I was at a point of panic and fear because I depend on my phone quite a bit. And I just felt this sense of void because, again, it's almost, I depend on it so much. And I began to think about all of the things that we lose in the course of our lifetime. You know, sometimes it's things, sometimes it's people, sometimes it's dreams and ideas that we have. And it is through our faith that helps us to be able to deal with some of the grief and loss that we are experiencing. Many of us are experiencing grief and loss on different levels. Sometimes it's on a personal level. Sometimes it's on a larger scale whenever we watch the news or whenever there is opportunity for us to get some news about the updates with this global pandemic. So we are in this space of having to figure out what do we do during this time of grief and loss. I was also reminded of a parable about this woman who had 10 pieces of silver, and she didn't know what to do. She was at a loss for this one piece that was lost. And what she did is she looked high and low for this piece of silver. Just like I looked high and low for my phone. I'm sure that she felt a sense of void and loss because of this one lost piece of silver. And I believe that there are many of us, sometimes we feel like that lost piece of silver. And just hoping that someone will find us, hoping that we will find something that will give us hope during those times. And that's when we have this opportunity to rely on our faith. Our faith is what helps us through these times of grief and loss. Sometimes grief and loss can sometimes lead to bitterness and fear. I just wanted to use a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who says that hatred and bitterness can never cure the disease of fear. Only love can do that. And I think that love is the key to the thing that we have to hold on to. If we lose the capacity to love, then I think it's a great loss. But so I wanted to share a quick story for you. She's a 13-year-old. And her name is Maggie Smith. Believe it or not, she has some great wisdom about faith, grief, and loss that I wanted to share with you. And she says to me, it's impossible to tell someone how to grieve. You can help someone, but never instruct them. I've been to a few grief camps and groups for the loss of my brother Gary and my grandfather Robert. At both, they showed us movies or diagrams about the grieving process. I never really understood them. To me, everyone grieves in a different way. And you shouldn't analyze that or tell them how it works. When I lost my brother, it wasn't a shock to me. He had been ill for a long time. There will always be a void in my soul that no one else can ever fill. It was a hole in my entire family, each of us experiencing different pain. To my parents, it was the loss of a son. To me, it was the loss of a brother and a friend. It was an empty room in the house, an empty room in all of our souls. Of course, there were things that helped and things that didn't. Without certain people, I never would have gotten through it as I did. One of them was a social worker. She came into our lives after Gary had already lapsed into a coma, so she knew him through me. She was always there to listen when I needed her. She was an escape for me because she was a happy, fun-loving person, but serious when she needed to be. The constant support and prayers of our local parish and priests were an extreme help to my whole family. Our priest was always there when my mom needed to talk, or when we needed a prayer in a shaky moment, or just for comic relief. How he found the time as the only priest in the parish, I'll never know. I recall one time my mother was alone at a hospital when my brother was rushed to an emergency CAT scan. As she was walking down the hall, Father Ron appeared around the corner at the exact moment when she needed him the most. She said afterward that he appeared like an angel, and I truly believe he is. So that's just one example of how faith can help in our times of grief and loss. So I pray that we find the things that we have lost, good or bad. We hope that this is an opportunity to hold on to your faith, to be constant in hope with that. So I'd like to lift up a quick prayer as we continue with our special programming and announcements. I invite you to have a quick moment of prayer with me. God, replace the tension with holy relaxation. Replace turbulence with sacred calm. Replace fear with strong faith. Replace bitterness with sweet grace. Replace darkness with brilliant light. Replace coldness with gentle warmth. Replace hate with great love. In the name of the one who loves us all. Amen. All right, that's all that I have to share with you.